Hey guys. Hello. Welcome back, folks. Danita Carter. Hello, everyone. First live stream. Hello, welcome. Yeah, we are live. Felicia, hello. Yeah, we hung out earlier on today. Lynn, Sue, Sharon, Daniel. What's up, folks? I should be. There I am. Hello. How are you guys? How are you guys doing today? Good? Please drop a comment down below and let me know what stocks you want me to go over. Yep. Hello, everyone. Roller, Sue. Hello. Thanks for hosting this, of course. Yeah, I'm super tired. This has been a long day. It's been a long day. And you guys want me to go over Open Door. Yeah, it got killed today. Down 6%. Yeah. Bmnr. We were talking about, SK is in my Discord in English. And we were talking about Bmnr. Also, earlier on today, SPX. Wow. This is the first person that has ever asked about the cash index of the S&P 500, Izilla. I'm surprised. I am really surprised that you're asking about the cash index of the S&P 500. Most of you guys are trading actively the SPY, but you don't even know that the SPY tracks the S&P 500 or follows the S&P 500. And that gentleman over there, the SPX, is very important. Yeah, it's a cash index. Sofi, yeah, Lion had it. Yeah, this is like my second stream in English. Yeah, still learning. I mean, I'm surprised. Yeah, you want to know about the SPX? Amazing. Left Nvidia, guys. So Powell is coming out tomorrow. You all of you know that. Today we had a bit of profit taking. Russell 2000 down 0.09%, pretty much flat. The Nasdaq down 0.07%, the S&P down 0.13%, and the Dow Jones down 0.27%. A little bit of profit taking. Take a look at what happened in regard to the 11 sectors that trade inside the S&P 500. The only sector that went up today was energy, up 1.67%. Consumer discretionary went up 0.60%. This is thanks to Amazon and Tesla, which both stocks have been performing, I would say, well, especially Tesla. Consumer staples up 0.43%, but other than these three sectors, the other 8 sectors closed in negative territory today. And look at this, profit taking. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Let's go see the market movers. Look at this. The IWM. Inside the IWM, today we had 1,173 stocks going down and 774 stocks going up. It was a negative day. Profit taking, guys. Ahead of Powell, which speaks tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. S&P 500, look, more profit taking. 316 stocks going down and 187 stocks going up. And in the case of the Nasdaq 100, better known for you guys as the Qs, the triple Q, look, 54 stocks going down and 47 stocks going up. I wanted to play this audio, guys, this video, because this is CNBC. So I think that this guy, Ryan Dietrich, is live as of now on CNBC. This is a very good guy when it comes to stats that are related to the stock market. So let's listen to what he has to say about Powell tomorrow. Let's go see.
Well,
let's listen to this.
25 basis points is almost a given. Any other decision will probably end up bringing a lot of volatility to the markets. I think the key messages that the Fed may do afterwards will have to do with what is their measure of inflation. I think the unemployment and the labor market is the one that actually has given us a 25 basis points cut for tomorrow. I think.
Pay close attention to what these two guys are saying. And then I will tell you something important as well. And mind you, this guy, Ryan Dietrich, He manages very good stats about the stock market. But listen up here, guys.
The inflation numbers and their review on how they evaluate the effect on inflation going forward is what is going to determine the pace of how many cuts they do from here on. And I think the market will be very focused on precisely how they change their dot plots and how they change of that trajectory so that they can understand that trade-off between what they see in the economy that seems to be very resilient, but at the same time, their inflation is above their targets.
Okay, so Ryan, so historically, after cuts at all-time highs, stocks move higher. Do you expect that this time?
Yeah, John, thanks for having me back. We do. I mean, I know you've talked about it all day, and I've shared this.
Listen up. Everyone is talking about a sell the news event tomorrow. Listen up.
20 out of 20 times the stock market's higher a year after a cut within 2% of all-time high. That's where we are. But I'm a big message of the markets person. Like, what's the market saying? I mean, a year ago right now, the Fed cut 50 basis points. I think we forget that. Everybody told us, oh, my goodness, every time they cut 50, it's a recession. We push back against that in a big way. And as Mike just talked about, now we're up a lot. But what's leading this market, right? You've got consumer discretionary relative to staples hitting new highs. You've got staples relative to the S&P 500 hitting new lows. High beta relative to low beta hitting new highs. Long story short, the market is telling us this is still a bull market. It is the second half of September. Everybody's pretty excited about this rate cut. Options markets are pretty, kind of optimistic. Maybe you can get a little bit of a banana peel sell off on sell the news, but bigger picture, this is still a bull market. We like the fourth quarter rally here.
Okay, so Omar, you mentioned the labor market. Are tariff concerns taking a backseat now for the rest of the year? Labor market.
So, if we take a look at the stats of the markets, what Powell is going to be announcing tomorrow is bullish. Why is it? Because the markets love lower interest rates. Period, full stop. They love it. They love it. So take a look at this chart that I also got from CNBC. Look at this. So, take a look at the orange line here, this one. This is the current path of the S&P 500 here. You guys can see that, okay? So, what could be happening 1 year out is going to be defined by the fact of having a recession or not having a recession. As of now, we cannot talk about a recession here in the US, and of course, I'm not going to be talking about macro stuff over here, but I want to show you this. Look. So, without a recession, and taking into account that Powell will be cutting rates tomorrow, the market should be higher 1 year out in general terms. And when I say the markets, and if the markets can be higher 1 year out, what stocks are very likely to lead the markets in order to be able to go higher? The Nvidias of the world, the Metas of the world, the Microsofts of the world, the Googles of the world, the Amazons of the world, and so forth. Okay? So look, without a recession, we should be higher 1 year out. If a recession kicks off in the US, we don't know if that is going to be the case, but I don't own a crystal ball. And if something occurs in the economy, the technical charts will let us know what to do. But if we happen to have a recession, yeah, the SPY or the S&P 500 should be lower 1 year out. That's it. So the rate cuts are bullish tomorrow unless something breaks in the economy. But we don't have any proof of something being about to break in the economy. So I am a bit concerned into the Federal Open Market Committee tomorrow. Remember, at 2 p.m. we're going to have the Fed decision. We already know what is the Fed decision going to be about. They will be cutting rates 0.25%. That is information that the markets already know. And then at 2:30 p.m., Mr. Powell is going to be addressing the nation. Yeah, there's going to be a press conference. And let's say that the movements that we are likely to see tomorrow, if any, should be taking place from 2:30 p.m. and on. I've been seeing lately, since last week, I would say, that too many market participants are kind of convinced that the markets will tank tomorrow once Powell starts speaking, because we are supposedly going to be seeing a sell the news event. So, since I am seeing so many market participants on the same side of the boat, I'm thinking that maybe the opposite could actually occur. Yeah, everyone is convinced about the fact that the markets will tank tomorrow. We'll see about that. Long story short, guys, I couldn't care less about whatever Powell will be saying tomorrow. I was telling the members of my Discord in English this earlier on today. Like, we have the technical charts, guys, and that's it. So tomorrow I am going to be working with a bull pivot and a bear pivot. If the S&P 500, if the SPY burst above our bull pivot, then that implies that regardless of whatever Powell is saying, the markets like it. If the bear pivot is broken to the downside, then the markets don't like whatever Powell is saying. So it doesn't matter whatever Powell will say tomorrow. You have to keep in mind that we could see volatility rising significantly from 2:30 p.m. and on once Powell starts speaking. And the technical charts will let us know what to do. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people curious about what is Powell going to be talking about, and if the markets tank, what dips should I be buying and stuff like that. Just chill, and yeah, the technical charts will let us know what to do. And the fact that the Fed is cutting rates tomorrow is bullish. It's bullish. Yeah, unless something breaks in the economy, as you guys can see in this chart. Yeah, I got many questions today about gold tomorrow ahead of Powell. Yeah. It should be on the move, and gold could be either going up or down depending on the fact of or depending on the way that Powell sounds like tomorrow. A dovish Powell should be pushing the price of gold higher, and a hawkish Powell could be an excuse for gold to have some sort of maybe a little correction. Yeah. We can go over GLD as well. Yep. Any questions, guys, about the Federal Open Market Committee tomorrow? Any questions? Do you have any doubts? Are you scared about the Federal Open Market Committee? And I guess that some of you guys are newies in the business. If you're, like starting out in this business, this is a spectator's show. You don't need to do anything. Yeah. Victor Delgado, Toshiba, Thomas Spector. I have requests on Open, Palantir, Boeing, Thomas Spector. Awesome. If he's hawkish, wouldn't that mean we are in a recession and gold should go up? No. If he's hawkish, that implies that he doesn't believe that we are actually in a recession. What is dovish versus hawkish? Yeah. Dovish is like more prone to keep cutting rates, and hawkish like being skeptical about keep cutting rates, because the rate cut that we are getting tomorrow is a lock. The markets already know that is happening. So we have two more Federal Open Market Committees for 2025. One is taking place in October, and I guess that the last one is taking place in December. I can, take a look. Yeah. So we have the September 17th meeting. Then we have another Federal Open Market Committee on the 29th, and another one on December 10th of this year. So the markets ideally, and we don't need to talk a lot about this, guys. They want Powell looking like prone to keep cutting rates in October. If he doesn't confirm that rate cut, the reaction of the markets could be negative. But I'm not gonna be waiting until Powell speaks and if he doesn't signal very clearly that he will be he will not be cutting rates in October, then I'm gonna buy puts. No, you just need to take a look at the technical charts. That's what I'm saying. Ideally, if Powell tomorrow, guys, If he says like, okay, I am willing to cut rates in October without, seeing any inflation data, whatever it is, or I don't know, or whatever macro data they are looking at, the reaction of the markets could be positive in theory, right? But we'll see. I mean, and again, so don't think about this too much. This is what we have the technical charts for, to let us know what to do and to allow us to interpret or to be able to figure out the net aggregate opinion of the markets about whatever Powell or any member of the Fed or Reserve is saying. That's it. So let's go over some individual stocks. Keep also in mind, guys, that if the VIX happens to rise tomorrow, so if we happen to enter into a volatile environment, most of the stocks out there will be simply tracking or following the S&P 500. Keep that in mind. So if Powell is speaking and maybe you see a stock that you like going down and you're thinking about maybe buying that dip, you just need to take a look at the S&P 500. If the VIX happens to rise and if we happen to see the SPY going down or even up, because volatility works in both ways, either up or down. So in an environment in which the markets are trading in a very volatile way, which could be, as I just told you guys, to either the upside or the downside, most stocks simply track and follow the S&P 500. So that is something to keep in mind. And of course, any technical analysis that I can do today is subject to the general market conditions. Okay, let's go over AMD. I've been telling you guys to keep an eye on good old AMD. Yeah, take a look. It went down today 0.43% and it closed the trading session at $160.46. The technical chart is starting to look interesting, especially, and this is a level that I have been pointing out for you guys, especially if AMD can recapture this pink line. This is a 20-day moving average. This is a 20 DMA, $160. This is what I've been telling you guys, especially in Chris Saint's Discord, because in my Discord in English I've been like more specific, explaining where am I getting this level from, right? So this 20 DMA is signaling $160. A potential process of consolidation above $160 could open the door for a test of the 50-day moving average near $164. This could be a trade to the upside, a short-term trade, of course, right? The 5 DMA in white is starting to rise, which is possible. And take a look at how, guys, this 5 DMA, this rising 5 DMA has been acting as support here, 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 and today as well. That implies that in minor time frames, despite the fact that in the case of AMD, we are still seeing some technical damage, buyers have started to step in. And this is positive. Let me take a look at the market structure of AMD. Demand and supply. Let's go see. And we'll talk about Boeing, because today we got an unusual collapse alert that could be playing out. We'll see about that. Yep. Look, so the demand went down and it is starting to go up. This is a market structure short. So what you guys can see here on top is the demand or buyers, and at the bottom the supply or sellers. So the level of the supply, as you guys can see here, is way above relative to the level of the demand. But look at how the demand started to go down, and a few days ago it started to go up. That implies that buyers have started to step in minor time frames in the case of AMD. We can actually reconcile this market structure chart with this 4-hour chart in which we see a rising 5 DMA, a rising 5-day moving average. So I'm thinking that if AMD consolidates above $160, the door opens for a potential test of the 50-day moving average near $164. However, if we take a look at an anchor VWAP that comes from the most recent 52-week high for AMD, what do we see here? Let's go see. Advanced micro devices. Look. Take a look at this blue line. This is an anchor VWAP, an anchored volume weighted average price line that comes, an anchored volume weighted average price line that comes from $185. So AMD went up to $185 back in early August. So the average market participant that started the position on AMD at $185 in early August or almost mid-August has an average price as of now of, guess what, guys? $164. So, for the most part, and in general terms, the only very important level of overhead supply or resistance above the current price of AMD is signaling as of now $165. So I'm thinking, guys, that if the bulls of AMD can recapture the 50 DMA, the 50 DMA in green is signaling $165. At the same time, they will be recapturing and potentially consolidating above the anchor VWAP that comes from all-time highs. So they would be exceeding to the upside the very last important level of overhead supply or resistance that could prevent AMD from going higher from now on. So say that AMD consolidates above $165, $166. This is a bullish development that could be attracting more buyers into this technical short. Above 166, 165, in regular market conditions, we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow with Powell, whatever it is. I would be very, but very constructive on AMD. The constructive phase that this technical chart is showing us as of now depends on the fact of AMD being able to hold as support this rising 5 DMA, this rising 5-day moving average, which as of now is signaling $160. So while that 5 DMA keeps rising, I think that more likely than not, AMD will end up bursting above $165. Above 165, guys? I don't know, 176, 182, why not? Or maybe $186, which is the most recent 52-week high for AMD. So I would remain bullish above the rising 5 DMA, $160, and I would turn like very bullish above 166. There you go. So African Shipping is asking about Boeing, guys. So in my Discord, in English, we are posting on a daily basis unusual options alerts that most of them work out, the vast majority of the time. So take a look at the alert that we got. I think that we got that alert today, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go see. So, and you can take it. I mean, for those who are not in my Discord, you can take a screenshot of this information. No worries, no problem. Take a look. So we got an unusual collapse alert on Boeing, which is this one. So yesterday, probably an institution invested $770,000 on collapses of Boeing expiring on October 17th with a strike of $250. A very bullish bet on Boeing. And in the case of this alert, and this is a level that we were talking about today in Discord, I think that this is a technical bet on the fact that Boeing could be bouncing back up of this rising 100 DMA or 100-day moving average. Take a look at this blue line. This is a 100 DMA, 100-day moving average. This is a very important moving average, guys, because it is showing us the average price of Boeing during the last 100 days. It's important. It is a very important level. So this 100 DMA is signaling as of now $215. And it's been acting as support. Look, yesterday, I mean, this was like today pre-market, this was yesterday. Pre-market, during the trading session yesterday, and today, it is trying to hold the support once again. Why is it? Because of the slope. It is rising. It is potentially pushing price up. The slope of any moving average is very important, guys. I have told you this like 1 million times. I probably sound like a broken record. So in the case of Boeing, guys, a potential process of consolidation above $215 could be opening the door for a test of the downward sloping 5 DMA. Look at the discrepancy that we have between the 100 DMA and the 5 DMA. The 100 DMA is upward sloping. It is rising. It is potentially pushing price up, but the 5 DMA is downward sloping. So this 5 DMA, which is signaling as of now $219, represents a potential level of overhead resistance. So from, say that this trade plays out the way that I am describing it here, say that Boeing closes candles above $215, from $215 up to the downward sloping or declining 5 DMA at $219. This could be a 2% profit trade, guys. $3.50. UI calls at 214 and you close at 218. It's a very solid profit. So this assumption would be wrong if this 100 DMA breaks to the downside. If that were the case, Boeing could be, on the flip side, a potential short opportunity. Yeah, this is a very important level that the bulls of Boeing need to be able to hold as support. 214, which is the level that is coincided with the rising 100 DMA breaks to the downside. This could be a short opportunity. Needless to say that we see the bounce that I am saying here, that I am supposing that could be taking place from 215 up to the 5 DMA at $219. Say that instead of rejecting price, so say that instead of that 5 DMA being able to reject price to the downside, say that that level is recaptured. Say that we see Boeing consolidating above the 5 DMA, so above $220-ish. That could be attracting more buyers into this technical short. And if that were the case, guys, we could see a test, why not, of the convergence of the 20 DMA and the 50-day moving average near $227. So it looks like Boeing, from a technical standpoint, it's at some sort of crossroad here. So keep an eye on the 100 DMA above $214, $215. There could be a trade to the upside, and I think that this is the bet on this unusual collapse alert from yesterday that was reported in Discord today. $770,000 in calls, invested in calls that expire in October. Maybe they know something. This could be an insider trading. Maybe Boeing is about to be upgraded, or they will be, I don't know. So we have some good news coming out for Boeing. So yeah, this is definitely a stock to keep an eye on. Let me take a look at the market structure of BA. Let's go see what we get here. The Boeing company. The market structure isn't looking good. We have to be careful, and we need to try to confirm support at that 100 DMA. Look at the market structure: demand on top, supply at the bottom. The demand is going down. The supply is kind of starting to rise. I mean, we can reconcile this not good looking market structure short with this 4-hour short, in which we can see a downward sloping or a declining 5 DMA. So we have technical damage. We have to be careful, but if that 100 DMA holds as support, it could be interesting. Let me see where do we find an anchor VWAP from the most recent 52-week high in the case of Boeing. Let's go see. BA, the Boeing company. And let's go see. So from the most recent 52-week high, which was reached at $242 in late July, we get an average price of $227. That could be a gap filled to the upside. Should this rising 100 DMA hold as support? And take a look at how those $227, so that anchor VWAP that comes from all-time highs, and that is basically showing us the average price of the average market participant that started positions on Boeing and that has averaged down, and since this stock reached its most recent 52-week high. So that average price is $227. So those market participants are losing money as of now. They represent a potential overhead supply zone from which Boeing could be retracing or pulling back should that level be reached anytime soon. So this could be a potential profit-taking level to the upside if this trade works out. Yep. What else do we have here? Do you guys want me to go over Palantir? Let's go over the Messi of artificial intelligence. By the way, I saw Messi last Saturday playing here in Charlotte. He lost 2-0. Yeah. We played against Inter Miami. Yeah, it was fun on Saturday. So Palantir went down today a little bit, 0.55%, and it closed the trading session at $170.26. The technical chart is starting to look very constructive, guys. I like it. Palantir has been struggling at bursting above $170, previous level of support back from mid-August, failed 3 days ago, failed yesterday, and we didn't see a test itself of so it is not 170, guys. I take that back. $172. Yeah, look, failed on Friday, failed yesterday at $172, and today's Tuesday. And today we didn't see a test. Almost, look, today we saw a test of $172 pre-market. Take a look. And pretty much as soon as the trading session opened. So Palantir has been struggling at $172. But look, take a look at this white line. This is a 5-day moving average. This is a rising 5 DMA, which implies that potentially in minor timeframes, buyers have already stepped in here. Palantir is trading as of now above all the moving averages. And if we pull up an anchor VWAP from all-time highs for Palantir, let me see, Palantir, take a look. So an anchor VWAP that comes from all-time highs. So Palantir made a new all-time highs at $190 back in August 12th. So the average market participant that started positions in Palantir on that date, August 12th, has an average price as of now of $161. What does this imply, guys? If you know that the average market participant that started positions on any given stock from all-time highs is located at a price that is below the current price of a stock, what does that imply? In practical terms, let's just put it that way. Well, that implies that for the most part, as a general rule of thumb, we don't have many important levels of overhead supply above the current price of a stock, of any given stock. So we know that Palantir has been struggling at bursting above $172. This stock burst above $171, $172, and I think that Palantir is off to the races, guys. Yep. We have a rising 5 DMA. The stock is trading above all the moving averages. We just need the bulls to push through here a bit more and being able to burst above on Palantir or bring Palantir above $172. What could be the next potential gap to the upside? 179, 183, all-time highs is possible. Yeah. Let me go see the market structure of Palantir. So what is the demand and the supply looking like here? Let's go see. For the Messi of artificial intelligence. Wow, take a look at this market structure, guys. Remember, on top of this chart, you guys can see the demand, buyers, and at the bottom, supply. Above 173, Amanda, once Powell is done talking, yes. And of course, guys, I mean, you also need to take into account that the markets are trading at all-time highs. We're at all-time highs, so we are going to have a pullback eventually. And if it happens to be a general pullback, so most stocks out there will be simply going down along with the S&P 500, along with the SPY. So that is something to consider, Amanda. So if you want to buy Palantir calls, don't go all in. Buy only one contract, I don't know, 2 or 3 months out, in case we have a pullback. Yeah, so maybe you can average down at a lower price if needed. Yeah, but the chart is looking very good, guys. But you also need to understand that the markets cannot trade for extended period of times, making all-time highs every day. It just doesn't work out like that. We have pullbacks. We have, like profit taking. And we have been making all-time highs in the SPY for I don't know how many trading sessions in a row. So you need to take that into account. You cannot analyze individual stocks without considering the general situation of the markets. You see what I'm saying? So the short of Palantir looks good, and it looks good. You see Palantir consolidating above 173, 174. I want to buy calls, but then you go and pull up a technical short of the SPY. Wow, the SPY is at all-time highs. It is making brand new all-time highs day in and day out. Should I buy 5 calls of Palantir expiring next week? No. Why? Because they can pull the rug out at any moment, guys. They will not send you a memo before they pull the rug out. So you have to be careful and understand that when the markets are trading at all-time highs, the upside potential of most stocks out there gets a bit limited. You have to be conservative. You have to be careful with the sizing of your positions. Did I make myself clear? Hopefully I did. So yeah, I mean, the above 173, guys, the short looks extremely bullish. Extremely bullish. I would be a buyer of calls above 172, 173, expiring in November. Do you guys know that there are calls and contracts that expire 3 or 4 months out? That not every single call out there expires on the same week or on the same day. Did you know that? Do you know what extrinsic value means? Time? Well, you have to learn that. Yeah, the short looks extremely bullish, and the market structure looks phenomenal. Take a look. Demand on top, supply at the bottom. The demand is clearly rising. The supply is trying to rise like little by little, but forget it, guys. The level of the demand is way higher relative to the level of the supply. This is a very good looking chart. Yeah. It looks like we have higher prices coming up for Palantir. I would be careful about this technical short if the convergence of the 50 DMA and the 20 DMA at $160 is broken to the downside. What site is this for structure sentiment? The name of the website is Market Structure Edge. Market Structure Edge. Yeah. I try to buy 3 months out minimum for options. Well, you deserve an applause. Let's give a round of applause for all for 2 guys. He buys options that expire 3 months out. Let's give a round of applause. If you are starting out in this business and you are doing weekly options and daily options, you will be out of this business sooner than you think. Period, full stop. 1,000,000% guaranteed. If you guys are starting out in this business with small portfolios, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, and you're trading daily options and weekly options, you will be out of business sooner than you think. 1,000,000% guaranteed. Period, full stop. Yeah. And excuse me for the honesty. Next. I'm liking this live stream. Let's keep going. AVGO, Broadcom. All right. AVGO. Okay. Another very good looking short up today, 1%. And it closed the trading session at $360. I mean, what do you want me to say, guys? Above all the moving averages, we have a rising 5 DMA, rising 20, 50 DMA, 100 DMA. This is a very good looking short. Under the absolute control of buyers. Absolute control of buyers. Again, so I gotta circle back to the SPY. So The SPY is trading at all-time highs, guys. If we happen to see a 5% pullback, give me a 10% pullback, AVO is, Broadcom is going to go lower, more likely than not. Yeah, sure. So again, you need to take into account and you need to consider when you are doing any technical analysis, the general situation of the markets. So if I were analyzing Broadcom in isolation, aside from the markets as a whole, I would tell you, you know what? This thing consolidates above this rising 5 DMA, and yeah, it could be taking out all-time highs at $372, and it could keep going up. But you have to be careful. We are making all-time highs day in and day out in the SPY. You have to be careful. I would argue that maybe AVGO is a bit extended here, guys. It is trading how much? 11% above its 20-day moving average. So it is in a crude uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. This thing consolidates above the 5 DMA, $362, and yeah, I think that it has an appointment with higher prices. Yeah. Say that we see profit taking. Tomorrow the markets tank because Powell didn't say that he's cutting rates in October for sure. I might be a buyer of a pullback down to this rising 20 DMA at $320, $320. That is coinciding with the previous level of resistance. So I wouldn't be chasing it here, guys. Not because I don't like the chart, because the SPY is trading at all-time highs, and we've been making all-time highs for 2 weeks in a row. So I'm being careful, guys. I'm being cautious. Let's just put it that way, okay? I would be a buyer of a pullback, maybe down to the 20 DMA, $323. Yeah. But again, guys, I don't know. Maybe this melt-up operation continues. So in strict technical terms, we can make a case that AVGO consolidates above the 5 DMA, $363, and it can keep going higher. Why not? Sure, it can. Sure. Oh, by the way, I'm about to break even here on Oracle. I have a position here, look. I have 50 shares at $310. I've been buying Oracle, guys, left and right. Left and right. I have a new position, $50. 50 shares at $310. Yeah. And take a look at this profit, guys. Do I have it here? Take a look at this trade that I closed today. On Oracle, $800. Yeah, I've been buying dips. Yeah. I closed this trade today. And this is a trade that I called out for the members of my Discord. Yeah. I've been buying the dip in Oracle left and right. Yeah. I think that we have higher prices on deck for Oracle, more likely than not. Yeah. So circling back to AVGO, let's go see. There's no need to take a look at any anchor VWAP here, guys, because this stock is trading at all-time highs, so we don't have important levels of overhead supply above the current price of Broadcom. I was going to look for the market structure. Let's go see. Supply and demand for AVGO. AVGO Broadcom. Let's go see. Wow, the market structure looks phenomenal. Palantir, Pablo, yes. Look at the market structure. It looks phenomenal, guys. The demand. Take a look at the demand, guys. So think about this. When you spot this market structure chart, when you visualize this, so the blue shaded region represents buyers in minor time frames, and at the bottom you can see the supply, sellers. What do you guys see here? More buyers than sellers. If we reconcile this market structure chart of AVGO with this 4-hour chart, what do we see here? A rising 5 DMA. It's a very good looking chart, guys. The only thing that I would be, again, I just said it and I will say it again, whatever. Today I'm tired, so I guess that I'm sounding like a broken record. The only thing that I am concerned about AVGO here, guys, is the general situation of the markets. Yeah. Bmnr. SK, that's about it from my Discord. Bmnr. Speaking of Tom Lee. So, Bitcoin is up But this is a stock that is actually tracking Ethereum, right? Not Bitcoin. Am I mistaken about that? Joel, Albert, hello, my friend. Hello, Joel. Just want to thank you. And I'm learning so much because of thanks, bruh. Thanks. We're here to help. Yeah. Hey, is Bitmain Immersion? Yeah, this is the company that is buying Ethereum, I think. And Tom Lee is the CEO, right? Okay, so it is tracking Ethereum. Okay. It is a momentum stock. So ideally, guys, if you are going to trade Bmnr, I would advise to you to use VWAP. Not an anchor VWAP. VWAP. Are you using VWAP, guys? This one. Let me pull up here a 1 day, 1 minute chart. Let me pull it up. This is a momentum stock. So let me pull up my studies. Let me see. Edit studies. Let me get the VWAP. Clearly a momentum stock. Okay, look. There you go. Look. This purple line. This is VWAP. A volume weighted average price line. So this is purely an instrument that you use in order to decide upon daily entries. Day trading for the most part. It tracks Ethereum. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So since this is a momentum stock, guys, ideally you want to go long Bitmain Immersion or Bmnr when buyers can consolidate above VWAP. You need to trade this purely based on momentum and not really based on major time frames, I would say. This is momentum. So if you see Ethereum rising and you see Bmnr taking out and consolidating and being able to consolidate above VWAP, then you start the position here. I mean, that would be my advice. This is the way that I trade these kind of stocks. Let me remove the study because then this is a pain in the neck in major time frames. So yeah, look, it is trading above all the moving averages, the one that we can see here, because this is an IPO or something. So it is. I mean, we have the 5 DMA rising, and if I zoom out, now let me pull up here a 4 hour. So it failed yesterday at. Sorry guys. This is messed up. Show me as percentage. There you go. Okay. So look, it's been struggling at consolidating above $56. Look, it failed at 56 here. This was back in mid-August. Also failed at $56 in mid-August. It recently or yesterday failed, or 2 days ago, it failed at 56. So say that this thing opens the trading session tomorrow, guys, above $56. And you see it consolidating above VWAP, I mean, that could be a potential entry level for a Bitmain Immersion. Sure. Chris, I have not gone over Sofi. Yeah. Yep. Let me go over Sofi here. Okay. And by the way, guys, keep an eye on Sofi tomorrow. This is something that I was talking about with the members of my Discord today. This is a very sensitive stock relative to interest rates. Very sensitive. So if tomorrow Mr. Powell happens to sound hawkish, this is a potential casualty. If he doesn't confirm the rate cut for October, this is a potential casualty. Yeah. Some stocks are very sensitive relative to interest rates, and some others don't, or some others are not very sensitive. But this is a very sensitive stock relative to interest rates. So Powell sounds dovish, and he is willing to keep cutting rates until minus 2%. So I don't know. If you get a credit, the bank pays you instead of you paying for interest. So this is a very good looking chart, guys. I've been telling you that recently that I thought that Sofi was headed to $28. It is in a crude uptrend above all the moving averages, rising 100, 50, 20, 5 DMA. So in regular market conditions, and if we didn't have Powell speaking tomorrow at 2:30 p.m., I would say that Sofi consolidates above this 5 DMA and it keeps going up, guys. By the way, finally today or yesterday, It almost made a brand new all-time highs. Look, $28 back in February of 2021. This thing burst above 28 bucks in regular market conditions. How high can SoFi go? 30 bucks, no problem. 35, no problem. 40, no problem. No problem, guys. Yeah. There's nothing more bullish than a stock trading at all-time highs. Would I be chasing SoFi here? No. Would I be starting a position in SoFi tomorrow before Powell speaks? Hell no. Yeah, this is a very sensitive stock relative to interest rates. This is a bank. They lend money. They benefit from lower rates in the economy. Right? So don't chase it. I was thinking about maybe, in case of a bit of volatility, buying the dip at this rising 20 DMA, $25, which is pretty much coinciding with the previous level of resistance back from late July. So I would be a buyer of the dip here, guys. Yeah. Let me see the market structure of SoFi. This stock is trading pretty much at all-time high, so we don't have any important levels of overhead supply above the current price of SoFi. So let's go see the market structure of SoFi, my BlowFi. Look, very good, guys. Nothing to complain about from a market structure standpoint. The demand is going up, the supply is going down, more buyers and sellers in minor time frames. We can easily reconcile this market structure chart with this 4-hour chart in which we see a rising 5 DMA. This is a very good looking chart. Yep. Nothing to complain about SoFi. Spotify. Joel is asking about Spotify. Well, I'm so tired, Joel. Joel, take a look at the ticker symbol that I'm typing. I'm typing your name. I'm tired, guys. It's been a long day. So instead of typing Spot, I typed Joel. I'm tired. It's okay. I'm about to get some rest. Spotify. and there's a ticker symbol with your name, by the way, bruh. So, guys, I'm a bit concerned about the momentum of Spotify because at the beginning of the year, this stock and Netflix were going on a tear, but they lost momentum. I don't know why. Both stocks, especially Netflix, reported way better than expected earnings, but they lost momentum. So this is not a stock that, from a momentum standpoint, I would be interested in. Right? From a technical standpoint, I don't know. I would tell you that I would say that above the 20 DMA, the 20-day moving average, which is coinciding with the 5 DMA at $698, this technical short could be attracting buyers. But take a look at the choppiness. This stock is going nowhere. It is going nowhere. It doesn't have good momentum. It doesn't have a good market sentiment. So if you get involved in this trade, it is going to be very choppy. So most of the people that have purchased call options on Spotify have been losing money recently because of the choppiness. They probably have gotten stopped out. And the ones that have purchased puts, they haven't made a lot of money either because the stock is, it's sharp. It isn't doing much. It lost momentum. So this is not a stock that I would be interested in trading, to be honest with you, unless I see a clearer breakout above a previous high. Say that maybe Spotify takes out $728. Look, which is a level at which this stock struggled a few days ago. It is also a previous level of resistance back from mid-June. So I want to see buyers like showing strength. And so far, you don't see any strength in this technical chart. The only thing that you see is choppiness. And the same thing goes for Netflix. Take a look at this, guys. NFLX. Look at this. A phenomenal company, by the way. Phenomenal company. I love it. But take a look. So sometimes take a look at Netflix. It has gone nowhere. In months. There's no positive market sentiment in regard to these stocks. This is not, I am not interested in trading any of these stocks until we see like buyers showing strength. Yeah. Tessie. The main is asking about Tessie. How long is this? 54 minutes. How about that, huh? Awesome. Tessie. I've been talking about Tesla for weeks, guys, and I've been telling you guys, and the members of my Discord know this to the penny. I said this thing takes out $367, and it is more likely than not going up. Take a look at this. Unbelievable. Up today 2.82% and closing the trading session at $421.62. This push to the upside is a bit extended. Let me take a look at the options market here, guys. Let's go see the hottest tables in the casino today. Probably Tessie was the hottest table in the casino, I would say. Come on. Pull up. There you go. Yeah. Indeed it was. Look. So, take a look at this. So today we had, come on, help me out. Okay. Today we had 2 million contracts, calls and puts traded in the case of Tesla, and 64% of those contracts were call options. Take a look at the IV rank. 21%, guys. And the IV percentile, 32%. So this implies, guys, in practical terms, that despite the fact that Tessie has been going on a tear recently, the contracts, both calls and puts, are not very expensive relative to the most recent 12 months. The IV rank is at 20%. So the options of Tesla have been more expensive relative than today during the last 12 months, only 20% of the time. So we still have the incentive of having cheap options. So this kind of gamma squeeze that is going on in the case of Tesla can keep going. So if we take a look at the technical chart in isolation, we can argue that this push to the upside is a bit extended, right? Because Tesla is trading how much higher relative to its 20-day moving average? 20%. Tesla is trading as of now 20% above its 20-day moving average. I use the 20-day moving average, guys, like some sort of home base. So when I see a stock trading either up or down more than 20% relative to its 20-day moving average, we can make a case that we have a bit of an overextension to either the upside or the downside. So in the case of Tesla, this push to the upside is a bit extended, but with an IV rank at 20%, which lets me know that despite the fact that Tesla has been going on a tear, the call options and the puts as well, but the calls, which are the dominant trade as of now, are not very expensive. And the IV percentile is at 32%. I think that this gamma squeeze can keep going, guys. Is Tesla headed back to all-time highs? Yes, I think it's possible. I never speak in absolute terms, of course, and no one should speak about no one should speak about this business in absolute terms. But we'll see pullbacks along the way. But I think that Tesla has a shot of going back to all-time highs. What is all-time highs for Tesla? I think it is like $480. Is it possible? $488. Jesus Christ! Wow. Oh my God. With that IV rank at 20%, it can pull back. Of course it can. But I think that short-term dips are likely buy the dips opportunity, guys. Opportunities. Yeah. So say that Tessie goes down to, let me see. I mean, ideally, it could go down to the 5 DMA, $388. We have a previous low here at $400. $400 is also a fat number. Yeah, this technical chart looks very good. This stock is in a clear breakout. And of course, this is a stock that is very sensitive relative to news. So, vehicle sales in Europe and vehicle sales in China or whatever it is. So we could see a turn, a change in regard to market sentiment based on news. But if no very negative news comes out, Tesla pulls back down to $400, $405. I think that the dip is likely to end up being bought up, and I think that this stock has a chance, has a shot at going back to all-time highs. Let me see the market structure of Tesla. Tesla. And oh, come on. Sorry guys, I'm very tired today, so yeah. I'm not being very skillful with pulling up the charts. Take a look at the market structure. The stock is going on a tear. And look, the demand is rising and the demand is going down. Impressive, guys. So Tesla has gone up in a matter of a few trading sessions. How many? 5? It has gone up 21%. This is a plus $1 trillion plus market cap company. And yet still, the demand is going up and the supply is going down. Impressive. Impressive. And if you take a look at anchor VWAPs or anchored volume weighted average price lines, what do we see? We don't have a lot of overhead supply levels that could act as potential resistance zones above the current price of Tesla. Look. An anchor VWAP that comes from all-time highs is signaling, as of now, $316. Wow. Well, we'll see. There goes Tesla. Yeah, sure. Wow. It's a full house today, guys. A lot of people. Yeah, showed up. Awesome. I love it. Yeah, we are. Ooh, an hour and 1 minute in. Guys, I am going to wrap it up. Yeah. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And, well, hopefully we will have some fun tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a long day for me. Huh? I need to shield. I will shield. Yeah. I still need to keep an eye on Oracle. Look. Yeah. I'm almost breaking even here. I got to keep an eye on it. It's okay. Thanks, guys. So we went over Sofi, Techical, Palantir, a bunch of stocks. Yeah. Thanks. For all of you, the members of my Discord and also Christians. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.